All right, this is definitely one of the coolest fish catches I have. My angler hooked a hyacinth mat and pulled it out, to the boat. And as we drifted by, I guess the fry from that mat came out with that hyacinth mat, and I threw by it just on a whim, and a fish was actually under that little stalk of hyacinth that we pulled out. It's cool. All right, this is a really cool fish catch that I had on day 2. I was throwing a square bill on braid, and I'd started realizing that these bigger fish were pulled out from the edge. The fry garters were up on the bank, and my angler was catching a bunch of fry garters, and I was too, but I was trying to get a bigger fish, one of these females that pulled out after the spawn. And the first time I came by her, she just absolutely crushed it, but that braid didn't give her a chance to really get the bait good. And when I'm coming back in, I just happened to take my hand off the reel and pause it just for a second if you watch close, and she hits it hard. And luckily I get her in, but the crankbait does come out of her mouth in the net. So probably not the best application, but did land the fish. So
You got one?
yeah, I got it. There we go. That one's so good. Yeah. 3. All right, guys, did get a check for the event. Ended up catching 11 pounds, 3 ounces on the final day to get 29th place. So overall, it's a good event. Stay tuned, and I'll give you a recap of what I was throwing and a rundown of how they were biting. Thanks. Hey guys, what's up? Doing a real quick recap on the Okechobee tournament, day 2, and I really did about the best I could do. I feel really good about day 2. Day 1, obviously I missed that big one, but day 2, I caught my fish on 3 different baits. Starting out, I threw a shaky head. We were around some scattered rock on the rim ditch, and everybody knows a shaky head on rock is just great. No real vegetation away from the bank, so it was a good call. And I threw it on a Duckett medium action, 6'10". This is my cranking rod, my shallow cranking rod, but for a small shaky head, it also works well. It's got a ton of tip, and you can get that bait out there. I threw it on a 3/16 owner shaky head with the screw lock, and I threw a black and blue Yamamoto Senko with the blue tail. I would show you, but I ran out after probably 5 or 6 fish. I was out of baits. After that, I stuck with that lineup for a while, but I knew I had to get a bigger bite, and I knew I had to do something different, and all of the fish that we were catching were fry garters. If you pulled that bait away from those hyacinth mats or away from that scattered reed, you could just see the fry just skitter everywhere. So the spawn definitely happened at least a week and a half ago, and the females that the pros were catching, earlier in the week were pulling away from those beds, pulling off, somewhat suspending. They just get lethargic, and eventually, they want to start feeding back up and bulking back up. But that's part of the adjustment I made. About halfway through the day, I started throwing 2 baits. One was the Rapala Big Brat that is kind of mimics the Golden Shiner. Great bait. Worked really well in the hydrilla and milfoil there wasn't really milfoil, hydrilla that we fished day 1 and day 2 also, but I didn't have any footage of that because we never caught a fish, but it worked really well coming through that. And that's why I threw it on braid. I knew I had to rip it out, and if it gets buried and you got a medium heavy action rod, you're gonna fight that grass all day long. So I wanted to go with braid just to get that good sharp rip out of that grass, and hopefully take my chances once I got them hooked, rather than fighting the bait all day. So that was my second largest fish came on this, and unfortunately I caught a probably 4 to 4.5 pounder that you didn't get to see. Sorry about that. My GoPro died, and for some reason when I plugged it in the YOLO stick in the back of the boat, it wasn't charging properly. Don't know if it's a bad connection, if it's in the stick or what. But my biggest fish and another key call later in the day, again, I went off the bank. I was looking for any type of hard structure that was in that 5 to 6, 7, 8 foot range right behind the boat. And I was throwing a bigger bait, something that might entice those big females. And I threw the mag speed worm and June bug. This is it right here. 3/16 ounce weight, pegged on the top, 5 alt Hayabusa 959 hook, and I threw that on. This is either 17 or 20 pound fluorocarbon. So can't remember exactly what I put on here, but it's heavier gauge than just your regular 12, to 15 for worming. Just in case I got a big one, and it worked great. I really pinned that big girl good, and that was it. We fished the rim ditch the second day, and the rim ditch is a great place to go catch numbers, and you can luck up and catch a really good bag, but unfortunately, the spawn had happened, and there's not a lot of structure in that rim ditch once you get away from the bank, and those girls, they were gone. They were gone. We caught probably 40 fish between us, and they were all carbon copies, a pound and a half, pound and a three-quarter, most of them. Yep, that's it for Okechobee. Be going to Seminole next. Look for my videos then, and hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks.